My name is Damon Powell. I identify myself as an artist and theologian. I was born in Kansas City, Missouri, grew up in Washington, D.C. I attended the Kansas City Art Institute in Kansas City, Missouri, and got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Illustration. And I felt like there was something I was supposed to do, and I went and talked to my pastor at the time there, and we had a long discussion. And then strangely, how people would just, I'd be out somewhere, and people, I was like, I remember one time I was in the store, and this woman just walked to me and said, Reverend. I'm like, what? You have me confused with somebody else. Strange things like that would just begin to happen. And so I decided to go to seminary. So I went to Ohio, where I attended Payne Theological Seminary, had a scholarship there, full scholarship, and graduated from there. So I got my Master's of Divinity. So trying to connect these two seemingly very opposite ways of being in the world. And that's when I decided to, after talking with a professor, to pursue my PhD. So I came out here and went to the Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley and began doing an interdisciplinary study that involved African American art, African American theology, and African American aesthetics. I try to infuse that theological knowledge I have from my studies into the work that I'm doing. There is a direct connection between spirituality and artistic expression, and really exploring that not only through my own spiritual practice, but also through the images that I create, which are often based upon exploration of various texts, some of them Christian, some of them Buddhist, just various theological texts from disciplines, signs and symbols and what their meanings are from various cultures, and trying to put all these things together. Just a concept like love. How does that look from a spiritual perspective? You could spend your whole life doing that, just alone. Okay, we have the art over here, we have this spiritual, and then we'll say / religious thing over here. But the more I began to study and the more I began to develop myself spiritually and grow in my own spiritual strength, I began to see that there were so many connections between artistic expression and between spirituality and between understanding those, because creativity is divine work. It's more about, I think, an attitude. And so when it relates to the world, art has the power to change things. How many times have you seen a movie or looked at a picture or heard somebody speak a poem? You're like, that changed my perspective about this. For good or ill, depends on how we're using it. And I think as artists, those of us who call ourselves artists, quote unquote, in a formal way, we need to be more responsible about how we use that power, for good or bad. I mean, yeah, I could paint a lot of other things, but this is what I'm choosing to do. I'm choosing to use a higher vibration through my work, and hopefully that's communicated, and hopefully that changes people, maybe on a subtle level. Sometimes it's not about the big things, it's about the little things. Spiritual practice, my creative practice are all part of the same thing. That is part of my spiritual practice. It is part of my, what would we say, my vocation. This is what I do. This is my way of being in the world and seeing life. And so there is no disconnect anymore for me. This is just who I am and how my life unfolds.